Hello everyone. 4 body parts she shows if she likes you. Many men focus their attention on the wrong signals when they interact with women. They pay close attention to what she says, how quickly she replies to messages, or whether she laughs at their jokes. While they are concentrating on these obvious behaviors, they often overlook something far more revealing. Beneath the surface, her body may already be communicating something entirely different, signals that she may not even realize she is sending. The human body runs on biological programs that developed long before modern dating culture existed. Long before language, smartphones, or social media, the brain evolved subtle systems of communication designed to signal attraction and interest. These signals were created through hundreds of thousands of years of human evolution. Their purpose is simple: to silently communicate curiosity, openness, and attraction to another person. What many men fail to understand is that this biological signaling system rarely lies. A person can easily fake a smile or pretend to be enthusiastic. Someone can behave politely, warmly, or even flirtatiously while feeling little or no genuine attraction. Social behavior can be performed like a script. However, there are certain physical reactions that are far more difficult to control consciously. In fact, there are 4 specific areas of the body that tend to reveal authentic attraction. When genuine interest appears, these areas often react automatically. They shift and change without deliberate intention. Most people are unaware that they are even doing it. Once you learn how to observe these subtle reactions, not to manipulate someone, but simply to understand what is truly happening, you begin to read social situations with far greater clarity. This awareness changes the way you interpret interactions. Instead of constantly second-guessing yourself, you start to recognize patterns of behavior more accurately. You become less likely to chase someone who is only being polite, and less likely to overlook someone who may actually be showing quiet but consistent interest. The purpose of understanding these signals is not to memorize tricks or social tactics. It is not about learning clever lines or psychological strategies to impress someone. Genuine attraction cannot be manufactured through rehearsed performance. When someone is simply acting out a script, the interaction often feels transactional rather than authentic. Real connection grows from understanding, presence, and emotional awareness. When you begin to understand the psychology behind attraction, you also begin to see how the body reflects emotional states. A person's physical posture, eye contact, and subtle gestures often mirror what they are feeling internally. Instead of guessing what someone might be thinking, you can learn to observe how their body naturally responds in your presence. Many men struggle in social situations because their attention is directed inward rather than outward. When they feel attracted to someone, their mind becomes filled with self-monitoring questions. What should I say next? Did that joke work? Do I sound confident enough? Should I message her tonight or wait until tomorrow? This inward focus is completely natural. Attraction often triggers anxiety, which pushes people to monitor their own behavior closely. However, the downside is that while someone is busy evaluating their own performance, they may miss the subtle signals happening in front of them. Presence, the ability to genuinely pay attention to the other person, is one of the most attractive qualities a person can bring into a conversation. When your attention is calm and outward focused, you naturally notice more of the interaction that is unfolding. Another common mistake is relying too heavily on words to determine interest. Someone might say they had a great time or that they enjoyed the conversation. While these statements may be sincere, they are also shaped by social norms. Many people are conditioned to be polite and avoid direct confrontation, especially in situations where rejecting someone might feel uncomfortable. Because of this, verbal communication often reflects social courtesy rather than pure emotional truth. Body language, on the other hand, frequently reveals deeper signals that appear before someone consciously decides what they want to say. A third mistake people make is overanalyzing individual gestures. For example, someone might notice a woman touching her hair and immediately search online to determine whether that specific action means attraction. In reality, Isolated gestures rarely mean much on their own. Context matters far more than any single behavior. What truly matters is the overall pattern. When multiple signals appear together, consistent posture, eye contact, gestures, and engagement, they form a clearer picture of what someone may be feeling. Among the many parts of the body that communicate emotion, 4 areas are particularly revealing: the feet, the neck, the eyes, and the hands. These areas are influenced strongly by subconscious neurological responses, which means they often reflect feelings that have not yet been consciously processed. The feet, surprisingly, are one of the most honest indicators of attention and interest. While people often control their facial expressions or gestures, almost no one consciously manages where their feet are pointing. Because of this, the direction of the feet often reveals where a person truly wants to focus their attention. In social psychology, this is sometimes referred to as body orientation. People naturally point their bodies and especially their feet toward whatever interests them most. If someone's feet consistently angle toward you during conversation, it often indicates subconscious engagement. If they repeatedly point toward an exit or another person, it may suggest their attention is drifting elsewhere. Another important signal involves the neck. The neck is one of the most vulnerable areas of the human body. When someone exposes this area, tilting their head slightly or brushing hair away from the neck, it can signal comfort and trust. These gestures are subtle, but they often appear when someone feels relaxed and emotionally open. Eye behavior is also highly revealing. Eye contact itself is widely recognized as a sign of attention, but the details matter. For example, when someone briefly looks downward after making eye contact, especially with a soft expression, it can indicate emotional intensity or attraction. In contrast, glancing away to the side may signal distraction or disengagement. The hands provide another layer of information. Unlike the other signals, hands often represent action rather than reaction. When someone begins lightly touching another person during conversations, such as brushing an arm while laughing, it can indicate a willingness to reduce physical distance. However, context always matters, since some people are naturally more tactile than others. Beyond body language itself, there are also deeper psychological principles at work. One key idea is that attraction begins in the emotional brain before it reaches conscious awareness. The body often reacts first, while the rational mind catches up later. Another crucial factor is emotional safety. Attraction alone does not guarantee openness. If someone feels uncertain or uncomfortable, their body language may remain guarded even if they are interested. Genuine signals tend to appear more clearly when someone feels relaxed, safe, and emotionally secure. Finally, the most important indicator is not a single moment but the pattern over time. Real attraction tends to grow gradually. Signals become more frequent, more relaxed, and more natural as two people become more comfortable with each other. Ultimately, attraction should not be treated like a puzzle to solve or a code to crack. It is more like a language, one that requires patience, attention, and genuine curiosity about another person. When you learn to observe respectfully and respond with authenticity rather than strategy, social interactions become more natural and meaningful. The goal is not manipulation but understanding. The more present and attentive you become, the easier it is to notice what others are truly communicating beyond their words. And often, that quiet level of awareness is what creates the strongest and most genuine human connections.